Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We will begin the October meeting of the City of East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals. The first agenda item is a roll call.
Driscoll.
Here.
Whitman.
Present.
Reeker. Here. Bershears. Here. Bruner.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the meeting held way back on August 11th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on August, what was it, 11th, you said?
August 11th.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on August 11th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tim and George. And now actually the first case is the petitioner is here, and we're going to go ahead and go through that case and then move into deliberations, and then we'll move on with the next case for the evening so that we can allow you to go home and not sit through the rest of it. The case V-2025-005, and that is the petition of Shane Moses for a variance to allow a 6-foot-tall gate in the front yard on property located at 1839 Highview Road. That property ID number is 01-01-23-200-014, recently sold, formerly Abbas Grotto. Would the petitioner approach the podium, please? And will you state your name for us?
Shane Moses.
And Shane, before we get started, I need to swear you in. So can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead and explain to the board what you're looking to do there.
So currently there is a farm gate that is on the property that was there when I purchased the property. It's about 55 inches high currently. Starting to get in a shape where it's starting to cause some issues to open and close. So just looking to replace it with something a little bit nicer for the neighbor as well. And since you can't really go above a certain height in the front yard, wanted to go before you guys to make sure that it was accepted. So,
questions for Shane? Tim?
This may be more of a question for Brad and Ty, but it appears based on the site plan that this is nearly like it's not visible from the roadway. Am I wrong? It looks very, very far back from like your.
You'd have to look pretty hard. It's a very unusual case.
Yeah. It's so far back. I drive by this multiple times a week. So, I mean, that's way back there. And there's plenty of tree cover and other screening. So
Yeah,
I have no
it's not
problems.
going to stand out.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
Michael?
No questions.
And John?
No questions.
Joel?
No questions.
George?
No questions.
Nope, just clarification. It does sit way far back, and there is a house and a shed between the property and the road, and that is a rental property owned by a local man. So, not a big deal. I don't have any questions for you, Shane. I think it's fine. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this particular case, approach. Seeing no one, Shane, you can go ahead and have a seat. And we will go right in then to deliberations. And this would be case V-2025-005, 1839 Highview Road. The petitioner is Shane Moses, who would like to put up a gate, and the property was recently sold, and our information says that it's no longer going to be open to the public. First question, will a significant hardship result to the owner if the strict letter of the regulations are carried out, given the particular physical surroundings, shape, or topographical conditions of the property?
Yes.
No. Is it an inconvenience to the property owner to follow the regulations of the ordinance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Is the variance requested based upon the uniqueness of the property?
Yes.
Is the variance based exclusively on the desire to make more money out of the property?
No.
No.
Will the variance be injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood?
No.
Has the alleged difficulty or hardship been created by any persons presently having an interest in the property and thus self-imposed?
No.
Will the proposed variation impair the adequate supply of light and or air to the adjacent property?
No.
Will the proposed variation increase the congestion of the public street?
No.
Will the proposed variation create additional traffic safety problems?
No.
Will the proposed variation increase the danger of fire to adjacent structures?
No.
Will the proposed variance substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate neighborhood?
No.
Will the variance be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare?
No.
No.
Would the variance request be generally applicable to other properties within the immediate area?
No.
No. Okay, do I have any discussion, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve case V-2025-005 as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote?
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Rieger.
Yes.
Brashears.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All voting in favor. Okay, so that ends here, so you're able to go ahead and proceed with your project. We have was there a permit on file already, Brad, or do we? Okay. Yeah, we'll get you. Yep. Thanks.
Okay, we will move on then to case A-2025-005, and that is the petition of the City of East Peoria to permit multifamily development as a special use in the R5 Senior Living Facilities zoning district. Our petitioner this evening is Ty Livingston. Ty, will you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead and explain what's going on.
So, some of you may recall that earlier this year we had created this R5 Senior Living Facilities District, and this is an outgrowth somewhat of our comprehensive planning effort, looking at opportunities to preserve senior living options. The case here is the proposal is to allow a special use for multifamily in these zoning districts, and the idea is, as opposed to saying, let's go ahead and offer a rezoning. The special use allows the city's control to impose conditions. You can think of cases like the short-term rentals where we say, that special use ends when the owner is no longer in the picture. In the case here, we probably say the petitioner, because most cases that will come before us will likely be somebody that's interested in the property, not necessarily the owner. But the proposal here is a special use that allows some conditions to be imposed to ensure that we're getting a quality redevelopment project.
Questions for Ty? Tim?
Just curious, does this relate, or was this brought forth because of the case that was pulled, so that this could pave the way a little bit easier for that?
Yeah, cases like this where, we have a broker or real estate professional that said, look, we've done everything we could to try to get this redeveloped for senior living. The challenge is those products have changed over the years, and so you have more recent developments that really perform very well in the marketplace. And you can think of like the villas at Hollybrook. These are newer style senior developments that just have a tremendous amount of amenities that really make older developments a little more challenging to reuse for that purpose.
Yeah, I think as we were going to hear, a case that would have aligned with this one, I actually think that those are, good uses for properties like that, may go out of business or whatever other cases may be. So, definitely support this. And I think it's the right path to go to ensure that we have proposed conditions for those properties that the council can take under consideration.
Yeah.
That's all.
Michael, any questions?
No questions.
John?
No questions.
Joel?
What would be an alternative to this in the code?
So the alternative option would be to allow a rezoning of the property.
Okay.
And the challenge with rezoning is we're not to consider any specific project. It would be whatever is allowed in this particular zoning classification. So if we were to entertain a rezoning to R4, that really relinquishes the control or any management skills that the city might have available to it.
So this special use is actually covered in R4.
No, this would allow for, so we have a new zoning classification called R5. This would allow for a special use if somebody came to us and said, look, we know that we've got this R5 zoning,
Okay.
but multifamily, not senior focused,
Gotcha.
is the product that will work here. This would give the city the opportunity to ensure that we've got a good quality project that would move forward there.
Yep. No further questions.
George?
I have no questions.
And I believe you answered mine basically in that statement. And so with that, we can move on. Is there any discussion or anyone want to make a motion to change the language in this?
I'll make a motion that we approve case A-2025-005 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Oh, hold on. Do we need to put in there about ownership changes in that motion?
So that would be an option that the board can impose at the time of providing the special use. That would be a condition, like we do with short-term rentals. Yeah.
So George, you're basically saying approve it as presented, but there would be language in there that said that the special use would need to come back to the
Limited to the
city
petitioner.
with the new petitioner.
Yes.
What does everybody think about that?
It's not necessary because we're going to be applying those conditions when we hear cases that would align with this new amended language anyway.
Well, it's really up to the board. I mean, we can do it on a case-by-case basis, or just as a blanket, you could say anything that comes through would be limited to that.
I think we just hear it on the case-by-case basis, but that's just me.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Tim and Michael. Roll call
call.
vote.
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Reeker.
Yes.
Brashears.
Yes.
Bruder.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
A vote in favor. That will go to council next Tuesday.
Okay, we will skip the case C and move on to D, case CP -2025-001, and that's the petition of the City of East Peoria to recommend adoption for a new comprehensive plan to City Council. You have that in front of you. Ty, I believe you're the petitioner then?
That's correct.
Do I need to re-swear you in?
We already swore me in. But you can do it
Once
again
is
if you want
good.
to.
No, we don't, painful as it is. Go ahead and explain what this is about.
Sure. Thank you. So I will not go through this entire document for you and read it. But what I want to do is hit the highlights and kind of give an overview. So the comprehensive plan is something that we typically do on a 20-year basis. And it's looking out 20 years from now. Our current plan is from 2005. So it was time to do a refresh. This is a culmination of 18 plus months of work. I think this is most of Brad's time here has been spent on the comprehensive plan. This is what feeds the zoning ordinance. So recommendations that come through here usually wind up somewhere in the zoning ordinance, and it's between staff and the zoning board and the city council's job to apply those changes. This has been a very exhaustive process. Lots of community input. We've done everything from having a number of open houses in the atrium here. We've gone out to the farmers market. We've had community neighborhood meetings in Richland. We even went to the East Peoria Community High School, and I have to say that was probably one of the more engaging groups. We met with Mr. Collins' class, and they were very interested. They gave us a lot of great ideas, a lot of good feedback, and we continue to meet with the high school students. Actually, Brad and I were there on Friday with Mr. Fleming's class and talking to him about economic development and that sort of thing. So we've really enjoyed that interaction. But the comprehensive plan certainly had, a lot of those elements. We had an online survey, lots of opportunity for feedback. One of the things that we heard a lot of from our residents had to do with flexibility in housing, housing options. What else do we have available? Mixed use shows up quite a bit. And that's as simple as something you think about what Bluetown Apartments is doing right next door to City Hall here, where we've got commercial on the first floor, restaurants, shops, and then you have residential up above it. This is a very desirable development type. I think we found, particularly here in the Levy District, but other communities throughout the country, if you can have people living here 24/7, it's a great way to support the investment that's already been made here, continue to allow those businesses to thrive and grow. So we're really excited about that type of feedback. Looking at growth areas, certainly south of the city is one of the few remaining ones that we have left. So you think about south of Muller Road. One of the items that we've already implemented in our work is to work with the Village of Morton to get a growth boundary agreement together. That's already gone through our council. We're waiting to get them to sign it and have it go through their village board. But it gives each community kind of the goal to work towards is, okay, we're not going to extend infrastructure so far out here that it's what makes sense. It's something that within a 20-year lifetime, where can we effectively grow to? So they've been really good to work with, and I think a lot of that has to do with the relationships. Our mayors get along very well, and so that just helps out. We already have an existing agreement like that with Washington. Once again, we may not grow to that area to all the way to the boundary. In the case with Morton, we're looking at Roth Road, which is a north-south roadway that's really kind of far off to the east. You think of where it hits to the city, but it certainly gives us that infrastructure growth plan. Speaking of that area, also one of the things that we're going to change in our comprehensive plan is previous plans did not go out the full 1.5 miles. And this is something that state law allows us to weigh in on subdivisions that occur out in that 1.5 miles and weigh in on zoning issues that come up from time to time. And if we don't have that full 1.5 miles identified in our plan and future land use that we would like to see there, it puts us at a bit of a disadvantage when things come up. And we want to make sure that what happens out of that 1.5 miles doesn't impede growth. While we might not make it to that full 1.5 miles in 20 years, it's never a bad idea to make sure that you've got a plan for it. And this is kind of the place where it starts. And if you don't have this in place, if you ever have to go to court with something, most judges will say, well, sorry, you didn't have a plan. We need a plan. And this is the other piece to this is anytime you go to apply for funding for infrastructure and whatnot, they want to see a plan. And this is just a start. Michael is very familiar with his work at Tri-County that you got to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan that articulates your vision, your project, most funding sources are going to say, come back to us when you're ready. So this is kind of the first step in that. Zoning is something you'll see that comes up in the plan, looking at particular areas such as the Richland neighborhood, something that allows for a little more flexibility in residential development that maybe single-family housing doesn't make sense, but maybe you could have duplexes or townhomes. We've heard from the residents there that they're accepting of that. What they don't want to see is a very large-scale apartment development. Probably not something we'd look for down there, but trying to provide flexibility in that zoning ordinance that allows for it. I think the Four Corners comes up again as well, looking for that flexibility. And then broadly throughout the city, where are there opportunities for this mixed-use development that people seem to really gravitate towards? You probably wouldn't want to put it right in the middle of a single-family neighborhood, but maybe there's opportunities on the periphery of those that it makes sense. I think that's kind of the broad overview. I'd certainly welcome feedback. I know we didn't get this to you until later last week, but certainly welcome feedback. And like I said, where this is going to come before this board more often is going to be changes that go to the zoning code based upon recommendations out of the comprehensive plan.
So questions for Ty? Tim?
No, I'll just make a couple of comments. I think that Brad and Ty, I know you guys have put in exhaustive efforts on working with our partners to create this comprehensive plan. I think you guys have done a fantastic job. I perused through it. I know that there was a lot of opportunities, as you mentioned, for community involvement and engagement throughout this process. I don't think that I took advantage of too many of those opportunities due to some other conflicts, but I think that the community, had a lot of opportunity to engage throughout this process, which I think is really, really important to future success. And I really do think that this is going to set up the city well for to have those plans when we go to implement projects and seek funding. So I think that this is really, really well put together, and look forward to seeing what the next 20 years brings the city of East Peoria.
Michael, questions or comments since you were on the back end of this?
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions. I think this is a great document. Very impressed with the outcome of it, and I think you guys did a great job. It was a great public engagement activities. I always loved doing the student engagement, so I'm glad
Yeah.
that you also enjoyed that, Ty. So that I did that for Princeville and Dunlap when I did some comprehensive plans, and I have to say those are my highlights. So it's always fun to see what the kids like, and I think that's meaningful input because in 20 years they are going to be leaders of our community if we can
Yeah.
keep them in our community.
Right.
So anyway, thank you. This is a great job.
Well, I definitely want to give credit to our consultants, Kristen Harden from PGAV, and then also Jessica and her team that did the outreach for us. And, one of the challenging things is when you're out in public, how do you get people engaged without, letting them think that you're, trying to hit them up to buy something or sell something to them. And she did a really good job in engaging those folks. We went to the Richland neighborhood and really got a lot of good feedback from the residents there that attended those open houses. And then, of course, here at the atrium with the library and engaging parents that were bringing their children to the library, and they had things for the children to do while they engaged the parents and got their feedback. And so they really did a very nice job in getting that input.
John?
No questions.
Joel?
No questions.
George?
I don't have any questions. I just want to comment that over the time that they was doing it, I was at quite a few of these meetings and stuff. And from what I see in this plan, this seems like this is a very good thing for the city of East Peoria, and it's well designed.
Thanks.
I just have a couple questions. So I've been in these meetings for the last 18 months or so, and I tried to figure out what was different from the past iteration of the maps and everything that I had taken home. I know there's some tweaking, but I have a couple questions. Has the building of the new Chase Bank building affected anything that we thought we could do, or any of the plans for Four Corners? Has that actually changed anything or just made it better?
So, some of the designs for that Four Corners area did contemplate more mixed-use development. And so the Chase Bank is a standalone. There is another opportunity on the back end of that property. So think about where the video store was at, where there could be future development. I don't know that they've gone out and actively marketed yet. They've been, trying to get their project up and going, and it's, of course, underway now. So there may be an opportunity there for additional development, but it is not the mixed-use type development that was contemplated in the initial kind of conceptual. And I think that the challenge with that ends up being, finding what works for the property owner, what works on a development scale, and then, is there city participation that's required, or, some incentive piece? And that's always kind of the challenge, is finding that balance is what makes sense, because while we have certainly done a great job of incentivizing development and finding the right complement here in a lot of our development areas, you can't go out and incentivize everything. It's got to be, what makes sense and what the market will bear. There's certainly a lot of market forces there that say, given the corridor that Main Street is that there's going to always be a push for kind of more of those vehicular-focused businesses, drive-throughs, banks, restaurants. They want to be there. It's got great traffic volumes. It's got lots of opportunities for signalized intersection access, and that makes it really attractive for those. So it's you got to find the balance there as far as what works, but it is different than what was shown.
Okay, and then speaking of banks and drive-throughs, the opposite corner where the bank building and Wendy's is that still being talked about? The coffee shop, is that still a go?
That's still the plan.
Okay.
Seven Brew is still in the works there. The bank building probably doesn't get demolished until after the first of the year.
Okay. And then the one thing I noticed in here that I thought was maybe more definitive than what we had talked about before was the road diet from Cole to Columbia.
Right.
Okay. And so that seems like it's a tighter, shorter road diet than maybe what we had originally talked about, but we'd gotten a lot of feedback from not only the store, the commercial properties along that. Obviously, some people were really for it and some people weren't. So is the road diet from Cole to Columbia kind of a compromise, or is it what we're really hoping can happen just to allow more sidewalks or wider sidewalks in that area?
So the road diet recommendation is something that the consultant feels very strongly about.
Okay.
That they feel that that is a good opportunity there, and that for those that aren't familiar with that, it's reducing the lanes down to maybe go to a 3-lane configuration. The lanes would be wider. Potentially some opportunity for street parking. I know that that's something we heard from the block of 100 East Washington. The consultant feels very strongly that is a very good opportunity, and so shortening that to maybe Cole to Columbia is like you say, more of a compromise as opposed to, we had looked at initially to extend that all the way back to 74.
Right. I think that's what I was thinking.
So it's I think it's still a work in progress, but I know that that's
Okay.
something they feel like is a very good fit for that corridor, and definitely something the city should continue to look at and consider.
Okay, so not carved in stone.
No.
Okay.
No, nothing in the document's carved in stone. This is something that will likely, as we progress with it, we get it adopted and then come back and revisit on a periodic basis, check off things that are going well, and then update things that need to be updated, because it evolves. It's always changing, and, we're not going to wind up exactly where we project to be in 20 years, but I'm not sure 20 years ago we saw, we foresaw how much progress we would make with the levy district and other development either.
Totally agree. Okay, are there any more questions for Ty? Seeing no one in the audience who can comment on this particular case, we will move on with a vote.
Yeah, and I would certainly open up to, if anybody in the board would like to reach out to Brad or I in the next few weeks. This is not oh boy, this is set in stone. This is a fluid document until we present it to council. The goal is to get in front of council here sometime in November, with the goal of having it adopted before the end of the calendar year. But, this is a long-term process, and we want to make sure we get it right. So if there's feedback that we need to make some substantive changes, we can do that. But anything that comes to mind, I know that you all didn't get a long time to read this, but it's a long document, and it's going to be in pieces, and here's things that we're working on, and so we won't throw this all at you at once.
But is the next step to actually take a vote?
This would be to provide a recommendation for the council to adopt.
Okay. So do I have a motion?
One quick
Go ahead.
question. If any changes were made to what it looks like today, would that have to come back in front of this?
So it depends on how substantive. If there's a big wholesale change, if there's smaller changes, we'll likely send out a more of a final draft before we take it to council.
Okay.
It really depends on the nature of it. If there's substantive changes, then it may be something we come back and revisit. The next step in this process in a few weeks is we're going to take this before the Planning Commission and look for the same recommendation, and then it would go on to council. And so either one of those touch points, if there's something that comes back of, oh, hey, we really need to change this or relook at this, if it's substantive, we would take it back before this group.
Good. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve case CP-2025-001?
I'll make the motion to approve case CP-2025-001 to approve and recommend the adoption of the new comprehensive plan for city council to review.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael and Tim. Roll call vote.
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Rieker.
Yes.
Brashears.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All vote in favor.
Okay, now we have the citizens' opportunity to address the ZBA on non-agenda items. Seeing that there's no one in the room, let's move back up to old business. I don't think we have any old business, but we certainly have new business. Joel, would you like to take just a little bit and introduce yourself to the public, since this is being streamed on Facebook, so they know who our new member is?
Yeah, sure. My name is Joel Rieker. I grew up in Peoria, but have been in the city of East Peoria for about 12 years now. Came from when out of college, worked for the city of East Peoria at Eastside Center, and more recently am working at the Precision Planting. So very happy to be here and excited to be a part of the board.
Thank you and welcome.
Welcome, Joel.
Thank you.
And with that, I think our meeting can be adjourned. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting here from October 13th, 2025.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this meeting's been adjourned. Thank you until next month.